long. So today our birthdays for this month will be Moira Kerr, she's February 10. Doug Solomon is February 12. And Tom Story is February 16. So we get all our birthdays done kind of within that week. And our club anniversaries, congratulations to Peter Tanner, now 7 years with the Rotary Club. And Chandra Clark, I have you down for 1 year. So congratulations to all. And today our guest on my screen is showing in the top corner, Stephanie Saunders. Stephanie's going to talk to us about Black History Month, which has just started. So Stephanie, if you will, I've set it up so that you can share screen. And Stephanie is a little bit new to Zoom, so we'll be patient with you.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me. And yes, I was telling Brett when I logged on, this is my first official Zoom meeting. So I apologize if I have any technical difficulties. I'm just going to try to share my screen now. I have a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation to share with you. Thought you might prefer to look at that than look at me.
All good so far.
Okay.
And if you go to slideshow on there, I think it'll give you.
Okay. So I think we're good now, and you're seeing my presentation.
Yeah, Stephanie, if you go up to your slideshow, just below the orange border there at the top.
Yeah.
That will fill most of the screen with your slide. Yes.
Okay. Is that better?
You have to click on from beginning.
Okay.
Well, at worst, we do have it. So
okay, hold on a second here. Sorry.
No worries. We all had to learn. We've been on it for, gosh, 2 years now on Zoom.
Is that better?
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So we'll move through here. So I just thought, I'm not sure if everyone was familiar with the museum. So I thought before I started to talk about our Black History Month activities, I would give you just a brief overview of who we are and where we came from. So let me move. Oh, and it's not showing me my notes. Okay. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah, are you working off of one screen?
Okay. Yeah, I think I just need to do this. No.
Yeah, it's got its own camera in there.
Okay. Now, are you guys seeing my notes?
Nope.
Nope, you're just seeing are you seeing the presentation?
We see the screen, yes, with the
okay.
CK Museum.
Then I think I am set then.
All right.
Okay, so the Chatham-Kent Museum started off in what is now Milner Heritage House. That was a home built in 1894 by Robert and Emma Milner. And after the Milners passed away, their son Aubrey donated the museum to the city of Chatham as a memorial to his mother. And so it was formally established through a municipal bylaw in 1943, and renovations were carried out and large collections started to be donated, and that allowed the museum to officially open to the public in 1945.
Oh, wow.
Okay, did my slide change?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then it's working. Okay, so by the mid 1980s, it was obvious that Milner House was not going to be large enough to house the growing museum collection. And it also couldn't meet acceptable levels of security or environmental control. So in 1988, the museum was relocated to a purpose-built addition to the Chatham Cultural Center. And then in 1999, the municipality began a major restoration project to restore Milner House back to its 1905 appearance. We know that Milner House had electric lighting installed in 1905, and so that's why that year was chosen, because that made it easier for us to interpret the house. And so for the next 20 years, the Chatham-Kent Museum and Milner Heritage House continued to offer traditional museum exhibitions and programming. And then a few years back, we were taking a look at some of our metrics, our attendance, donations, programming revenue, our activity on social media, looking for ways to improve some of those numbers. Some of them were dwindling, some of them were sort of remaining stable, but lower than we would have liked. So in 2017, we launched a survey to find out what the community actually wanted from the museum. And we carefully worded our questions so that we would elicit responses about things that we could act on. So we had just under 500 responses to that survey, and we took a look at those responses and sort of decided to shift our perspective from being afraid of what could go wrong if we tried something to being excited about what could go right. And so some of the changes that we were able to implement fairly quickly were adjusting our open hours. We also changed some of our program activities and descriptions. We were still teaching the same things, but just using different techniques, fun hands-on experiences that made it more appealing. We changed some of our marketing strategies and updated our look. We had a new logo. You'll see on the screen some of the changes in our marketing. We painted the brown walls of the museum to make things a little brighter and fresher inside. Other changes that we made took a bit more time. So we worked at creating more interactive exhibits when we were producing in-house exhibits, but also bringing in traveling exhibits with interactive components as well. We created the Imagination Station on our mezzanine level, which is a completely play-based exhibit area. And although some people think that the Imagination Station is for kids, it is for kids of all ages. We do have lots of seniors groups that come to visit us and have a great time up there. So we really do, it is used by all ages. And we did start to introduce some more programming geared toward adults that was a little bit more play-based and fun rather than sort of the lecture series and more traditional programming that we had been using in the past. We sought out partnerships with other municipal departments and different community groups that allowed us to improve and fund our programming, to acquire interactive exhibit items, to help us to market to new audiences. I can't mention them all, but some of the partnerships that we developed were with Employment and Social Services, CK Recreation, the Chatham-Kent Public Library, early on IODE, Chatham-Kent Integrated Children's Services, and Tech Savvy, and the list goes on and on. And another change that we were able to make was to start to use our collection in different ways. So rather than just people coming in and seeing artifacts on exhibit, we were able to digitize a lot of our collections, the majority of our photograph collection, and our small three-dimensional artifact collection. And we've made them accessible online on our Ontario platform. So it's up on this screen right now. We have over 13,000 artifacts available, and we found that people are much more likely to engage with our artifacts online than they were just through traditional exhibits. So just to show you some of the results that we had, 2019 was the first year that the first full year that all of our changes had been implemented, and we saw some really significant positive changes across the board, from increased visitation to the museum, increased participation in programming, increased interaction with social media, increased donations. Things were heading in a good direction, and then COVID hit. And so since then, we've just been closing and reopening as we've been allowed, making the changes that have been required by public health in order for us to stay open, and to keep some of the interactivity in the museum. So as of today, we're open Wednesday to Saturday, 11 to 4, and it's by registered visit. So we have 4 visits, each of those available each of those days, and anyone can go online to our website to register for a visit, and they can bring up to 9 people. So we can have groups of 10 in the museum. We have a close time in between each visit where we do some cleaning to prepare for the next visit. And right now we're featuring the Imagination Station, our Out in the Open exhibit, which is a visible storage exhibit that you can see in the photo on the right. And then our new exhibit for that we wanted to launch this Black History Month, Let Us March On Till Victory Is Won, the struggle for racial equity in Chatham-Kent and Ontario. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that exhibit now. So Let Us March On Till Victory Is Won traces the courageous story of the National Unity Association's crusade for justice, their determination to end practices of segregation within Chatham-Kent and Ontario, and the ongoing fight for equality in Canada. We produced the exhibit in partnership with Buxton National Historic Site and Museum, Uncle Tom's Cabin Historic Site Ontario Heritage Trust, the Chatham-Kent Black Historical Society, and Buxton's Next Generation. And the museum commissioned original artwork for this exhibition. It was created by Mariah Alexander, a local artist, and the great-grandchild of Arthur Alexander, a founding member of the National Unity Association. So the exhibit starts off talking about some of the local Black settlements that developed. So one significant outcome of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 in the United States was that Canada became a primary destination for freedom seekers and free Black people who worried that they would be targeted by false claims of ownership. And so although Black settlements had already begun to develop across Chatham-Kent during the 1840s and 50s in areas such as Dresden, Buxton, and Chatham, the Black population significantly increased as racialized men, women, and children came here seeking the right to own land and participate in civic life. Most importantly, they came in pursuit of freedom. As Black communities of Chatham-Kent developed, their members continued to experience discrimination socially, economically, politically, and legally. This casual and institutionalized racism was most evident in the education system in the 1800s. So in response to that, in 1948, a group of Black Canadians from Dresden, Chatham, and North Buxton met and established the National Unity Association. Percy Carter was elected as president, Fred Robinson as vice president, and Hugh Burnett as secretary. Their constitution identified 4 main purposes: to promote the welfare of all people regardless of color, creed, national origin, or religion, to promote interest in better group relations, and to foster the spirit of equality. And the 4th was to instill a pride and dignity in Black people. So the National Unity Association and their partners were successful in having legislation passed in the Ontario government. The Fair Employment Practices Act of 1951 prohibited discrimination based on race and religion in employment. And the Fair Accommodations Practices Act of 1954 stated that no person shall deny to any person or class of persons the accommodations, services, or facilities available in any place to which the public is customarily admitted because of the race, creed, color, nationality, ancestry, or place of origin of such person or class of persons. So while these acts established a legal right to be free of discrimination, this right was not always respected or practiced. Some proprietors refused to adhere to the law, particularly in Dresden, Ontario. Hugh Burnett submitted complaints to the Ministry of Labor that resulted in an inquiry where the proprietors openly admitted to their racist actions. But despite this overt contravention of the law, the ministry did not pursue legal prosecution. So in response to the discouraging lack of support for the new laws, NUA members, and sorry, that's the National Union Association, participated in tests where non-white people would attend establishments expecting to be served to confirm compliance with the laws. As a result of these tests, the Ministry of Labor received 3 times more complaints regarding refusal of service coming from Chatham-Kent than from any other area in the province. Eventually, through the efforts of the National Unity Association, the legislation to ensure that proprietors could not discriminate was upheld in the courts. So what transpired in Chatham-Kent is a legacy that we should not soon forget. The courage and determination of the NUA were ultimately rewarded as the barriers that divided their community finally toppled down. Their victories made it possible for further triumphs and opened the door to future human rights legislation across Ontario and Canada. Today in Chatham-Kent and Ontario, the need for advocacy against anti-Black racism persists, and new organizations have emerged to continue the fight of the National Unity Association. With the mission of furthering equity for Black Canadians, these organizations also actively promote cultural identity and foster a sense of community. Locally, one organization on a mission to promote cultural identity and a sense of community is Buxton's Next Generation. The purpose and mission of Buxton's Next Generation are to engage youth in Buxton and surrounding communities and to preserve their community's culture. They're committed to enriching their community as well as promoting and sharing the rich history of the place they call home, allowing others to learn about Buxton and its vital role in shaping both American and Canadian history. So I also wanted to mention that in addition to our in-house exhibit, we do present to Let Us March On Till Victory is Won online as a virtual exhibit, and that's on the same platform, our Ontario platform, where we present our digital collections. We also produced a children's book to go along with the exhibit, Alice Learns to Take a Stand. And that is being published as we speak and will be available in our gift shop before the end of the month. And we also are going to make it available through a partnership with the Chatham-Kent Public Library to have it available on their Dial a Story. And then we're also partnering with the Chatham-Kent Public Library to do some programming on social media. So we've provided images for their puzzles, their Friday Fun puzzles, and we're working with them to host a Black History themed trivia night on February 23rd. So, and just as a bit of explanation about why we did this particular exhibit at this time, obviously because it has the connection to Black History Month, it was important, but it also helps to support the museum's goal as we're working towards being a space where the community can share their own stories. So the topic is timely, given local support for the Black Lives Matter movement, and we were able to build on our existing relationships with community organizations to help them tell their story. And then the relevance to the whole province made it a good exhibition to choose. It's the first virtual exhibition that we've launched on our Ontario platform.
I just move around.
So to keep up to date with what's going on at the museum, you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram at CK Municipal Museums or visit our website. And just to let you know, for the rest of the year, we do have, once Let Us March On is taken down, we'll be opening an exhibit called Tales of Fantasy. And that's a traveling exhibit coming from the Sherbrooke Museum of Nature and Science that will open on May the 4th. And that shares folk tales from Quebec, Canada, and Aboriginal peoples. And then at the end of August, we will be bringing back an in-house exhibit that we first had on display in 2020. And that's called Collecting Dust. And it tours visitors through an eclectic attic space and invites them to imagine and discover old and new family stories of their own and of their community. And so now I will answer any questions that anyone has, and I will try to figure out how to stop sharing my screen.
Just down there at the bottom. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
You're getting to be a pro there, Stephanie. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and make sure you unmute yourself, because I kind of went through and muted most people. So if you have any questions, Stephanie, I had a couple. First, with regard to one of your early slides with the museum, there seemed to be one room with a lot of artifacts in it behind glass. Is that a special climate controlled room that you have, or is it just behind glass?
So that is, I think what you're referring to is the photograph of our new visible storage. So we continue to have storage issues, just like we did when we were at Milner House, when the museum started. And so one way that we tried to solve that was by creating cases within the museum space, so they're always available to the public when they visit the museum. So it is a series of shelving units that are all behind glass. There's no climate control involved in that, but it does give the public access to see more of the collection than they would have in the past. So most of our small artifacts are out on those shelves, and as I said, we've been working on digitizing them. So we've got a lot of the artifacts there available online, with the idea being that that when you're walking through the museum and you're looking, each shelf is numbered, so you would be able to access information about all of the things that you're seeing, and then you don't have to rely on my memory to try to explain to you what particular items are.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Allison and then Jennifer.
That was awesome, Stephanie. Thank you for that. Great to see the storage has come along so nicely. That was just starting when I left, so I am thrilled to see that actually coming. It's come together very nicely. Did this exhibit just open? I'm just wondering what kind of feedback you've got in it, but I wasn't sure. I might have missed the beginning where you mentioned where that had started. But I mean, kudos. I can't wait to come in and see it. This is an area of our history that I think, local history beyond, that we should be learning more about. So I'm thrilled to see it and I can't wait to come in. I will make sure to register. But yeah, have you gotten any feedback on it yet?
So today is the first day that we've been able to reopen to the public.
Perfect. Okay.
Because the COVID restriction, the COVID closures just ended for us on Monday.
Yeah.
So we have our first set of visitors in the museum right now.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, so we haven't had any feedback, obviously, about the in-house exhibit. We did launch the virtual exhibit in December, and we have had some positive feedback relating to the virtual exhibit. So that's been great, and definitely something that we want to pursue in the future.
Great. Well, we'll share it on all of our social channels to help spread the word, and I hope you get a great response. It's a great topic. So thank you for enlightening us.
Thank you.
And Jennifer, you had a question?
I was wondering how we noticed in the paper a while ago about racially kids abusing each other. I wondered how you were reaching out to the students and making, I guess, the exhibit more available for young people who are in our community.
So So right now, we aren't having in-person education programs at the museum, but we do have the virtual exhibit that's available online. And so that's available for teachers to use in their classrooms as well. I didn't mention one of the other partnerships that we have with the Chatham-Kent Public Library is that we're working on an education kit that will be able to go out to classrooms relating to the exhibit and to this topic. And then we always welcome, inquiries from teachers. We can work with them to do virtual programming and tailor something to fit their classes' specific needs.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks for the question, Jennifer. I just had one thought, or the portraits and the pictures that Mariah Alexander did. What caught my eye first was the first 3 that you showed us, and then I saw in one of the exhibits she had about 4 more there.
Mhm.
Those are beautiful.
They really are.
Yeah, she has done an excellent job. Does she do a lot for you?
This is actually the first time that we've worked with her, but definitely it has turned out really well. So it's probably a partnership that we'll pursue again in the future. And if you get the chance, it really is worth it to come into the museum to see the exhibit. It runs until April 10th, but the portraits in the museum are 8 feet tall. So it really does have quite an impact when you can see them in person.
They look good on our small screen, so they must be awesome.
Yeah, it really turned out well. We're really pleased with it, and so is Mariah.
And now, would she be part of Buxton's next generation type thing?
That's a good question, and to be completely honest, I can't say with 100% certainty. I don't believe that she is part of Buxton's next generation, though.
Okay, alrighty. Tanya, you have a hand up. I recognize that now.
That's okay. What, Stephanie, I've already said to you, I think those pictures are phenomenal. I did not realize they were 8 feet. That's a lot. What are you going to do with them after the exhibition is done? Are you going to be able to make this a traveling exhibition, offer it other museums? Like, what happens to those pictures?
So unfortunately, the portraits because of the way that they're produced and put on the wall, we can't reuse the portraits, the 8-foot portraits. But we do have panels, exhibition panels that go along with the exhibit that we will be making available as a sort of a traveling exhibit that we can bring out to schools if they want to display them. So it will be available on a smaller scale that way. And then again, they are all online as part of our online exhibit, so people can view them there as well. And we are going to work on having the exhibit translated so that we'll be able to make it available in French and English when we start to do that.
Well, that's good to know. I wonder as an artist whether I forget her name.
Mariah.
Mariah, oh my goodness, I think that would break my heart.
Well,
anyway,
we warned her. She knew going into it.
Okay. Thank you.
Seems a shame, though.
Any other questions for Stephanie? All right. Well, I just want to thank you very much. I know, so we can go online and book our time slot to come in and have a viewing, which would it be like an hour's time frame that we would do?
So the time slots are 45 minutes.
Mhm.
So there are time slots. It's 11:15 to 12 o'clock, 12:30 to 1:15, 1:45 to 2:30, and then 3 o'clock to 3:45. And that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays.
Mm.
And if we look online, will we see what the availability is then?
Yes, if you go to our website, you can click on the button to book your museum visit, and it will show you which visits are available.
Great, thank you.
So right now we have them online to the end of February. Probably by mid-February, we will get March's exhibits or March's visit times up onto the website.
And it was interesting. You've got people in there like now. You've just opened the door.
That's right. Yes. Yep.
And
Today was our first day.
oh, great. Now that's I think it, you know, speaks to the quality of the museum when you've got people lined up waiting to come in. So I know for me, you know, I might have not paid too much attention to it, but for me, seeing the artwork, it's like, yeah, there's something here that I need to take a little bit of time and come and see. So thank you very much for coming and presenting to us. Sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Last call for questions. Everybody's all set? Okay, I've just got a few other comments for us coming up. Next week, we are heading back to in-person. So in person, I'll be reaching out with next week's, I'll put it out as a Zoom just in case people can't come by in person and they prefer to come the other way. We have asked Links of Kent to spread us out 5 or 6 at a table. So we'll keep ourselves as safe as we can. And we'll ask for masks to be on unless you're sitting down at your table. So just trying to keep everybody safe and looking forward to us getting back and in person. You'll probably notice for most of us, your dues has been sent out. So please do your best to get those taken care of as soon as you can. I also wanted to thank Chandra Clark and her team at Turns and Tales. Bruce Ross's book, which came out last week. We've got about 6 or 7 books are ordered just from the Rotarians. We're going to reach out and let the rest of Rotarians in Chatham-Kent know about it. And they will have a book signing quite likely in early March is the plan, depending on what weather does for Bruce coming down from the Meaford direction. So we'll try and get that in place. And our books that will be coming in, definitely be setting them up so that we can get a signature by the author for sure. And, you know, maybe at that time, Turns and Tales now has a license. So maybe we'll do it as an afternoon signing. Could make it quite enjoyable. Let's see. So next week with our in-person meeting, Faith Hale will be back and we'll have sort of round number 2. She'll be talking to us about Indigenous issues and reconciliation. So hopefully we'll get more from Faith. She wanted to be with us in person. Jennifer, were you about to say something?
I'm just wondering if Allison sneakily booked herself into the museum.
What would be so sneaky about it?
I saw your hand moving.
I know I am. I have my phone and my keyboard. I'm posting this on our Facebook page, but don't you worry, I'm going to be in there ASAP.
Good catch there, Jennifer. Donna, did you have something?
I was just reflecting on what you said about Bruce, the book, and all the way back to the start of the meeting in terms of good news. I thought he did a great job on interviews. I know I saw him on CTV locally, on a CTC global morning or a broader morning show. Yeah, very quite a launch.
And yesterday he presented to his new club in Meaford. Barry Fraser attended, and I understood there were in the neighborhood of about 25 people in attendance. So he indicated that Bruce was very comfortable in the presentation. Of course, it was by Zoom. And so Barry has recommended that he come back and present to us again, and maybe we'll set something up to do it prior to the book signing. We'll have to take a look at agendas and times and things like that. Just a little bit of an update. Barry and I headed out to Mitchell's Bay yesterday to take a look at a recommended picnic table from the municipality. They have 4 of the accessible picnic tables out at the Mitchell's Bay Pavilion, and they look very good. So what'll happen is we'll discuss with the municipality. We'll get a pad set up that they can bolt this thing down to, and it's extremely sturdy, so it should be a good fit for the Rotary Park that is on Thames Street, just across from Harvey's. I know it'll get lots of attention. So we'll have that on the go for the spring. And I just want to welcome Steve from the Satellite Club.
Thank you
And
very much.
Steve, have you got anything you want to tell us about what's going on with Satellite?
Well, we had a meeting last night and we had an excellent Zoom presentation from Scott Brush, who is the project manager for the Inwell non-for-profit housing that they're starting here in Chatham. It was fantastic. And they're doing great work all over southwestern Ontario. I'm going to send Jennifer the information because he would be a fantastic guy to get a presentation from. But not only that, they can certainly use some assistance with their program, and they're doing some really terrific work.
Great, thank you very much, Steve. Okay, that's it. Does anybody else have anything they want to share with us? Last call. All right, everybody stay safe out there. Try to stay home if you can, because that snow is starting to fall. So we've got about, I think, 7 or 8 hours of this coming down.
Yep.
Take care, everybody.
Thank
Goodbye
you.
now. Thanks,
Have a great
Mary.
Thanks,
week, everybody.
Brett.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Allison.
Oh, bye. When it stops snowing, I'm going to the museum. You heard it here first.
Oh, happy birthday, Moira. Whoops, I missed her.